When the world around you is run by tyrants that oppress you, you have only two options: to roll over and take the beating, or to fight back and stand your ground. When we look at the story of Game of Thrones, many have this idea that the Seven Kingdoms fell when Robert was blindsided by the Lannisters. But this is not the case. In fact, the very structure of how this world works requires oppression. And especially in such a world, we can see why someone that went from a frail little girl to a queen that commands great armies can inspire those around her. This is an analysis of Daenerys Targaryen, and you're watching the Man of Movies. Daenerys Targaryen is introduced to us as an orphan of the House Targaryen. Ever since her father was slain, her life has been one misery after another, from being sexually exploited by her brother to being used as a bargaining chip for an incoming war, and later being treated as merely an object in her marriage. She has been thrown into a life of hardship and trauma. But Daenerys is not a weak individual. In fact, her character arc is characterized by resistance. Even when she is forced into a marriage, she managed to make him fall in love and get respect. Even when she was being hunted by the Sons of the Harpy, she managed to defeat them. In every instance in her life, she has managed to find her way to assert dominance and power. However, this created many problems which were the reasons why her resistance against the status quo is in vain. Firstly, Daenerys thinks she is special. She has this otherworldly appearance with her silver hair and pale skin. Even though she is quite small in stature and looks frail, she is able to command armies. With her beauty and personality, she is able to bring many to her side. This is aided by the fact that she has royal blood in her. Many times throughout the series, she refers to herself as the rightful ruler of the Seven Kingdoms. Due to the interaction between destiny and talent, she is convinced that she has some divine claim over the Iron Throne. And this is one key weakness that we see in her character. Even though she has fought long and hard against her brother that abused her, she is also led by the same nonsensical idea of royalty and destiny. Furthermore, we also see her referring to herself as the breaker of chains, as she has proven multiple times that she values freedom and aims to end slavery from this world. But her ideals are not consistent. If she claims that she wants to break down this oppressive system, she should have thrown away the label of Targaryen that accompanies her name. This idea that someone can be born with the right to lead and rule over the kingdom is antithetical to the idea of freedom. This is a major reason why she would have failed from the beginning. Her ideology is weak. She believes that she wants to help the people around her, and she did many times in the series, but no matter what, she is just another example of someone that looks at the world and says, if only I was the king, then everything would be alright. And this idea that it is her birthright can also be easily disproven. For one, if she were going by societal standards, she would only come after Jon Snow. Moreover, she would also have a weaker claim because now the throne has been passed on to the House Baratheon by fair means of battle. This is the same way in which the Targaryens established their rule in the first place. So this idea of destiny is something she conveniently uses to push herself to get the throne. Secondly, there is an issue with her moral principles. Most people in the world do not have perfect morality. It is absurd to expect people in general to be perfect, but there are a few cases where we can see that they are a recipe for disaster. When we look at Dany, she is shown as one of the ethical forces within Game of Thrones. When she frees slaves and soldiers from their captors, we see that she operates with a strong moral compass. This is because she can see herself in those that are oppressed, and this pursuit is personal to her. But as it is personal, there are more emotions attached to this, something other than morality. As I said before, her misery starts with the fall of the Targaryen Empire. Due to this, she has developed a hatred for those that were involved in Robert's rebellion, and many times this hatred manifests as anger. We see the same thing when she executes the nobles responsible for slavery. However, her anger pushed her to execute many that were staunchly against the owning and selling of people. In many situations, we can also see that she chooses to execute those that are not a direct threat to her any longer. From her, what we see is someone who is less interested in finding the solution and more interested in burning down the problem. Even though in most situations her hatred did help achieve their goals, sooner or later it would have manifested into something worse. Another major issue that comes up is the accumulation of power. We can see in many stories and even in real life where revolutionaries are lifted by people into a level of power they are not ready to handle. Here again, Dany has three full grown dragons that can burn down armies in an instant. In addition to that, she has two large armies, the Dothraki and the Unsullied. As the saying goes, power tends to corrupt, and absolute power tends to corrupt absolutely. We see this happening when she chooses to rule over the lands she has overtaken instead of traveling to King's Landing. The land and its people are unstable, and everything depends on her. And naturally, we see that she breaks down under this pressure. After a fight with the Sons of the Harpy, she proceeds to escape with her dragon, and sometimes we even see her having the same paranoia that the Mad King experiences. This is the reality of holding such power, and instead of diluting it, she decides to take back the crown. And this speaks to how unstable she has become due to the trauma in her life and the unbelievable amount of power she has come to possess. In the end, we are left with exactly how Game of Thrones started. We see that Dany has traveled all the way from the other side of the sea to come and fulfill her father's wishes. Due to the inability to see redemption in King's Landing, she decides to burn it all down. Even though the manner in which her character comes to this decision seems forced and unsatisfactory to some extent, I could see this character arc being the natural conclusion to her story. We see the oppressive regime that was put forth by Cersei and the Lannister family, so Dany had good reasons to invade them, but her actions went above and beyond. That is because she herself was deluded by this dream, a dream given to her as though it was her birthright. Sooner or later, her intentions and empathy could be transformed into violence and destruction. In these final scenes, we see that she has lost sight of the burnt bodies beneath her feet, and all she could see was the golden opportunity to destroy everything that was built on her suffering. In the end, the story of Daenerys Targaryen was that of many individuals that want to change the world in ways that would ultimately break them. She was by no means the worst person in Game of Thrones, but she is far from being a savior. The idealization of her character comes from missing out many of the warning signs. When enamored by her beauty and ambition, it is also important to see where this ambition would exactly take us. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.